I'm Dev Harlan. I'm an artist based in New York, working in sculpture, installation, and digital media. It's an honor. I'm very grateful to Samsung and Niio for having been selected for this competition. It's really amazing to be recognized on this digital platform. To tell you a bit about my background and my practice, I began working with digital video and generative animation many years ago, and eventually became interested in sculpture and physical media, and began making work that was a combination of video projection mapping onto real objects and sculptures. These days my practice incorporates a lot of processes, and this has included printmaking and casting and sometimes stone carving. And I'm also using digital 3D tools, which may be 3D printing, photogrammetry, and of course digital rendering and animation. Recent directions in my work have included using technology to talk about issues such as, land use or climate change and the way that ecology is impacted by a technology-driven society. The Samsung Niio competition was a great experience for me in that it was an opportunity to return to making purely screen-based works. I think it became a really great catalyst for producing totally new work that pulled together a variety of ideas that I've been developing, but that hadn't been fully articulated. The works selected are part of a series of short films titled Aereo Gardens. Aereo here is a reference to Mars from the Greek god Ares, and also inspired by the writings of sci-fi author Kim Stanley Robinson. In the work, I set up these fictional scenarios that suggest a sort of decayed sculpture garden on a Martian surface where geology and time has taken over and developed a sort of mineral consciousness of its own. The work is really the culmination of a few years of research and process. This began during a residency in Arizona and then a Joshua Tree. And in the desert, the geology is all right there at the surface. I became really fascinated with the forms found in the landscape, and I began trying to find ways to capture them. So I used traditional casting and making rubber molds, and then also doing 3D scanning using photogrammetry. I did some aerial photography using a weather balloon. Aerial photography and of course satellite photography is a really fascinating way to see the geology sort of unfold. And I began also looking at aerial photography of the Martian surface, particularly the images released by the NASA JPL HiRISE project. They also released 3D scans of the Martian surface, and I began looking at them for inspiration and as something to incorporate in my work. This all came together in these films in that the landscapes depicted are real Martian sites, and the rocks and boulders are photogrammetry scans that I did while in the desert. I'm glad to see these new works being included in the Samsung Wall exhibition, and I also think it's a great opportunity for all the participating artists to exhibit their work in front of a global audience. I think a digital exhibition like this is really timely, especially during a global pandemic where we're all experiencing so much of our culture on screen. And I think it's a great moment for digital art to be evaluated on the same footing as traditional works because we're really experiencing them all the same way. Lastly, I want to thank Samsung and Niio for awarding this prize. I'm proud to be part of this community, and I look forward to seeing what's next.